kids.
My friends, I am very, very excited. We have a very special guest on, and to introduce him, please welcome my amazingly talented intern, Rayling Tang. Hey, Rayling.
Hi, everybody.
Who are we having today, Rayling?
So for everybody, our guest today is Jeff. Jeff is an acclaimed American magician known for his mastery of sleight of hand and a unique blend of kabuki theater with traditional magic. Jeff is also the founder of the McBride Magic and Mystery School and holds several Guinness World Records for his impressive feats. Everyone, please welcome Jeff.
Three-time winner at the International Grand Prix of Magic in Monte Carlo, Jeff McBride is known around the world as one of the most original and exciting performers of our time. He holds Guinness World Records in 3 categories. His show combines drama, sleight of hand, comedy, and dazzling grand illusion. The LA Times calls McBride a showstopper. Has to be seen to be believed. McBride's award-winning mask act has taken him around the world as an international television personality. He was the featured judge on the VH1 series Celebra Cadabra. He's a 3-time winner of the World Magic Awards and is recognized around the world for his many appearances on Masters of Illusion.
And here I am, with my mask on. Hello, hello, whoa. And take the masks off, and we're here to talk about the magic of storytelling. So how can I add some magic to your storytelling?
Oh my God, that's such a great opening. We love it. So we're so curious. Jeff, please tell us about the beginning of your journey with magic.
Interestingly enough, my life was changed in about, I'd say, 10 seconds. The first time somebody said to me, pick a card. It's amazing that something as simple as picking a card can change somebody's life. And ever since that day, my life has been filled with magic. That's right. Every day, my life is filled with magic and storytelling. And a deck of cards is a great storytelling invention. Did you know that there are 52 cards in a deck that represent the 52 weeks of the year? That's right. A deck of cards can be used as a calendar. There are 4 suits in a deck of cards that represents the 4 seasons of the year. There are 2 colors in the cards, the red and the black, which represent day and night. There are 13 cards in each suit that represent the 13 phases of the moon. And if you count the number of spots on all of the cards, they number up to 364 plus the Joker, 365. They can be used as a solar calendar. So there are mysteries and stories hidden inside of playing cards. And it was just a simple magic storytelling trick with a deck of cards that got me traveling the world doing magic shows and got me to the library. And that's a real magical place. Most people don't visit libraries, but there are so many worlds of wonder existing on those shelves.
Absolutely, Jeff. Imagination, it's the key to creating a magic show. It's key to creating stories. And where do you find your inspiration from?
Well, I do a lot of reading, and in the library there's a lot of magic books in the library. That's where I started my inspiration, and I collect books and magic books and storybooks and folklore and folklore stories and mythology. I draw a lot on that in my magic show, telling stories of magical quests and adventures, of magical initiations, of magical transformations. The secrets of magic have been handed down from wizards and sorcerers and shamans to the modern magic students today. And I keep that lineage alive by passing on the stories and the magic and the lineage. One of my teachers, I found great inspiration, it was with Eugene Berger, who is the foremost philosopher in the art of magic. And he was my teacher for over 35 years.
Rayling, I think I told you that I had the opportunity to travel to Jeff's home and to study with Jeff and also Eugene. And it was a magical time. And his library in his home, which you can only access through a secret magical portal, is incredible. It's bigger than many libraries that I visited around the US.
Oh my
I could
God.
Thank you.
really, do you know where the secret magic books are in the library? If you
Please
go
tell.
793.8. That's where you go to find the magic books in the library. 793.8. That's the magic number. And
Okay.
that's like saying open sesame to a world of magic.
It,
I'll take that down. Everybody take the notes with me with that
Mhm.
number.
That's the Dewey Decimal designation for magic
Okay.
in the
That's
library.
good to know. It's my first time. I will definitely check that. And
Mhm.
right now we are in the 21st century. So Jeff, what has magic meant to you at different stages of your life?
Well, when I started, I mean, this was one of the very first pieces of magic. I learned how to roll a coin on my hands. And so magic taught me skills. Magic also taught me hand-eye coordination. It taught me confidence. And I would practice in school quietly, like a ninja. And it taught me how to dream. And I would dream of the magical places I might someday travel with my magic show, like Las Vegas, where they have different kind of money, like poker chips. That's right. And it taught me computing skills, mathematical skills. 1 + 1 + 1 equals 3. 3 minus 1, watch. Oh, I take 1 away, which leaves 2. 2 plus magic equals, wow. So magic taught me coordination as a kid, taught me confidence as a kid. As I grew older, it was a way to stand out in the crowd. When I was in my 20s, it was a great way to travel the world because magic is an international language. It's an international storytelling language that transcends all cultural and language barriers. And as I grow older, I love to be able to empower people with magic, to light people up with their imagination, with new ideas, because magic has a way of um, making our rigid beliefs permeable to new ideas. Magic gives us a sense of new possibilities. So at different stages of life, magic gives different gifts.
as Rayling said, your show's been acclaimed all over the world. You have Guinness World Records, and you certainly are a star on stage. But performing on stage and teaching are two very different things. When did you decide to be a magic teacher to the point that you created this amazing mystery school?
Interestingly, it was when I was in my teens, I started teaching magic. And why was I had some friends that were seriously interested in this, and I was advanced, many years advanced, even as a teenager. And you learn a lot by teaching. Doctors, medical doctors, they have a saying, see one, do one, teach one.
Ah.
So, and this is for medical procedures, but I think it holds true for magic. You see a piece of magic, an extraordinary piece of magic, and you watch it and you see it, and it's partially because you're only seeing it from the outside. And then you dive into the techniques and the disciplines of what it takes to create that piece of magic, and you learn it. And then you learn it on a much deeper level when you have to teach somebody and pass on the information. So there's these three levels of learning. I'm sure it's with storytelling.
Mhm.
It's hearing a story, then there's learning the story, and then there's the telling of the story. That's why it's not just story, it's storytelling.
Mhm.
But there seems to be three stories in the house of storytelling, which is very true for magic.
Indeed, indeed. I'm curious. We have a lot of, and I'm jumping into Railings. She was going to ask a question, but uh, I told you that I improvised a whole lot. There are a lot of parents out there who are reading with their kids, but they get frustrated. The kids want the books read over and over and over again, the same book. And one of the things I tell parents is you can read the same book in many different ways. But I think a lot of parents don't have the confidence to kind of go out and improvise. What kind of advice might you share with?
Okay. If you're serious about this, there's an amazing book called The Uses of Enchantment by Bruno Bettelheim, which talks about story and the repetition of story and the importance of the repetition of story. And stories mean different things at different stages of a story listeners of a child's life. And he uses the examples of um, Beauty and the Beast. When that beast is kind of like when it's a small child, it's the father. And
Hmm.
then when they're a little bit older, years later, it's like brothers and other men. And then when they're a little bit older, it's like, would-be suitors are the beast. So the beast matures and their understanding of otherness matures as they read this. And Bruno Bettelheim talks about the importance of children hearing a story again and again. So the unfamiliar becomes familiar and they can see the challenges coming up ahead and think like the hero or heroine or the protagonist in the story. And they can brace themselves for the onslaught of negativity from the villains because they know it's coming. They're not surprised by it. So it's this way of them gaining confidence by putting themselves in the protagonist, in the hero's role. And they become more and more confident the more an actor plays a role,
Mhm.
the more a young person hears the repetition of a story, the more they grow into the story and can identify and learn the lessons that the story teaches. So if there was any frustration about the repetition of young people having to see The Little Mermaid and Aladdin 50 times and having to sing Frozen like 1,000 million times until this is a necessary part of the growth of maturation of children in the repetition of stories. And so they can become a story carrier. They know that story deeply. And it's by giving, memory is what we have. It's the people we meet and the stories we hear create our memories. And this helps the children internalize the story. So they become that story and they're now a story carrier. And they can tell you all the details of that story because it's so important. So repetition is a good thing. Giving attention, repetition, and that will bring recollection.
Fascinating. I had no idea that it was. We've talked here on the show a lot about uh, the fact that reading with your kids gives them a chance to imagine themselves dealing with different possibilities. I didn't know there was actually someone who had studied it on that level.
It's a very important book for people that are interested in story, the uses of enchantment.
Uses of enchantment.
I love how you emphasize about storytelling because like everybody think about magic, they think about speed, like there's tricks on hand, but like storytelling is the essence and one of the background for a magic show because it connects people and expresses emotions, feelings, and also like give people impressive memories about it. So I really love how you mentioned storytelling. And for our general audiences, Jeff, can you share about how do you maintain your passion and your hobbies and your work? It feels like you're always passionate about magic. So is there a hidden method about it?
Yes, yes. What keeps me young and excited and inspired are young, excited and inspired magicians. I get to work with people from many walks of life. I have students that are 10-year-old students that, Rachel Ling Gordon started with me when she was maybe 8 years old, and she was the youngest magician on Penn and Teller's Fool Us. And she has a wonderful story. When she was a child, Rachel had selective mutism. She couldn't speak out in public because she couldn't talk to anybody. And she had this incredible shyness that was, detrimental to her growth as a person. But then she found magic and it helped her express herself And now she tells her story. She goes around to different clinics where these children that are afflicted with selective mutism, and she performs magic for them and shows them that it's possible to be able to move beyond this stage of life by sharing your magic, sharing your story. I have other students that are in their that took up magic when they're 70s and are winning magic competitions. Buddy August, his name is Buddy August. You can look him up. He in his 70 years old, and he's created a story. He's a storytelling magician who tells a story. And then I have all of these students that are some of my students are like Matt Franco, who studied with me when he was 12 years old, and we still spend a lot of time sharing magic every month. I'm talking to him. He's a one of the magicians that won America's Got Talent. You know, what magicians like Shin Lim and Matt Franco can inspire young people to realize it only takes a deck of cards and telling your story to be able to travel the world and meet people. You don't need tons of stage equipment and dancing girls and lasers. All you need is your story and a deck of cards. And this opens up an entire world to you. And it can start with one simple magic trick. You know, I picked up a magic book one day and I realized that, hey, I could do this stuff. I could make magic where there wasn't magic and make the world a better place just with making people smile, making people stop thinking about their problems. You know, it's when we make a card disappear, you know, when we make a playing card disappear, we're not just making that playing card disappear. In that moment, all the problems of the world disappear because you can't think about these two things at the same time. So magic is very therapeutic in one way. So I have young students and I have old students, and it's my interactions with them that keep me inspired and young and learning their stories and helping and hopefully I can help them tell their story through magic.
Very lovely. You just grew your own community of magic, and then the age is diverse because you just as you said, magic is the global and universal language. It helps you to express and say your own unique language. It's really good.
Yes, and most of my students aren't professional magicians. Most of my students are people in their 30s, 40s, and 50s that are just seeking magic to be a pleasurable pastime or a hobby or something that they're interested in. Not everybody is even a performer. Many of our students are writers or professionals in other areas, or they are collectors of magic or historians, or just they like to learn about magic. Like most people that go to a baseball game are not playing baseball. They're baseball fans that love to watch it. And the nice thing about you don't have to be a sleight of hand person or good with your fingers to learn magic. There's mind reading magic, there's storytelling magic, there's all these different forms of magic that don't involve necessarily sleight of hand skills. So it's not like you have to be a master of sleight of hand to be able to share magic with your friends and your family.
Indeed, I can attest to that. Um, my sleight of hand ability is very limited, to say the least, but I was able to make a living doing educational magic shows at schools for 35 years.
Isn't that amazing?
It
See,
really is.
it's about your passion and commitment.
Mhm. Jeff, I'll share this with you. I did a show one time and in Allentown, Pennsylvania, and the person who hosted me at that school asked if her husband could come in, that he was an amateur magician and really loved it. And I said, absolutely. And he said something to me afterwards that horrified the people that heard it, but I completely understood it. He came up and he shook my hand. He said, my friend, you just proved you don't have to be the greatest magician in the world to put on a great magic show.
Isn't that fascinating? Yeah,
Yes.
that's kind of a strange compliment, but I understand it. You know, I understand it. It's
Mhm.
true because you don't have to be, it's like you don't have to be a virtuoso piano player to be able to sing a song with a piano
Mhm.
and to move people with words. You don't have to be an operatic singer to be able to communicate with a song. And I think that's what our school teaches is that if you are seeking to express yourself through magic, there's a way for you to do this. there's this division we think of between people that are professionals on a high level that are allowed to do magic and the people down here that aren't, but it's not true at all. There's magic for everyone, and there's great magic at all levels.
Jeff, how has magic changed over the years?
Magic is always kind of one step ahead of technology, and magicians always have the technology a little bit before the public has, because magicians kind of stay ahead of the curve. Magicians like Robert Houdin, the great French illusionist, was a clockmaker, and he knew things about machinery and even used electricity before electricity was really known. When electricity was just, a budding science, it was already being used in magic. And Houdini used advanced technology, and magicians have always been using radio and television and other technologies. And now magicians are pushing further into, projection mapping and all these other areas of high tech. So, and they balance it with the high touch of magic as well. So there's always been this kind of cutting edge technology. And on the other end of magic is the human touch, is the skill, is skill magic, to because we live in a world that is very high tech, and we have to have that high touch to balance it out. Magic is changing in the way it's taught and disseminated and spread. It used to be that there was very few books on magic, and you had to get these books, which was expensive and difficult and hard to find. And then with the invention of the internet, information became easily accessible from any place in the world. And now there's almost too much information out there. You need guides to be able to curate the good stuff, because there's a lot of noise and disinformation out there as well. So a lot of young people are visual learners, they say, because they don't read. And most of the good content is hidden away in books, and the real kind of fluff and surface stuff is on the top. So a lot of modern magicians are getting very shallow learning instead of very deep lessons in magic. And it's not just a cliche, but the readers are the leaders, because they have the depth of knowledge, not just the breadth of what's happening on the surface.
And indeed, one of the things I always encourage young magicians to do is to get to that library and study and pick up those books so that you can get that deeper understanding of magic.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Well,
Hopefully, like everybody in the future won't be just like the YouTuber and YouTube magician, but they also like read books and they know the tradition and origin of magic, and then they can use magic as a whole to present to the audiences, not just like through online searching and YouTube learning.
you said something very, very, very interesting there, is that the YouTube learning is really, they're not there to teach. They're there to grow their audiences and get hits. They're not really there to teach, most of them. They're just exposing magic. And there's a lot of exposure, but there's magic is not just about the trick. There's the psychology, the philosophy, the storytelling, and very little of that is on YouTube these days. The real secrets of magic are passed down from master to student, in person, in whispers.
Experiencing mystery, understanding that you, me, we're living in the middle of a mystery. This is transformative for our lives and for the world.
Jeff, the first time I studied with you was at one of your master classes that you held in Salem, Massachusetts. And one of the things that really impressed me was that in addition to learning the skills that you were teaching of that, you encouraged everybody there to take a dance lesson, take an acting lesson, to really see yourself as a performer, and to understand that whether you're on a street corner or on stage, you're creating theater.
Yes, and magic is much more than just the trick. There, if you're going to, explore deeply, there is the psychology of magic. Of course, there's the theater of magic, which is about lighting and costuming and scripting and memorization and blocking and interacting with the audience and the audience relationship building. There's all of these theatrical skills to learn. Uh, and at the same time, there's all the technical skills, all the, the philosophy, all the history goes in it. So magic is a lifelong study. However, it's accessible to even people that think, oh, I can't do magic. And the answer is yes, you can.
Yes, I was totally inspired by Jeff. Like magic is like way more beyond its fancy appearance. It's a space for people to connect with each other, to create a space to make conversations, and also like make magical things happen. Then people can have a really good memory about it.
Mhm.
So lastly, to enrich our family activities and traditions and interactions, can Jeff teach us a simple magic trick that parents can practice with their children?
Oh boy. Well, let's see. I love the idea of sharing, the love of magic with people. So we could teach you a simple illusion, and you can do this one for your for anyone. I'm going to teach you how to make something appear in the air and then levitate. How about that?
Sweet.
And in order to do this, sit back from your computer a little bit, and you have to look at my eyes. You can look at my eyes on the camera or on the screen. Now, what we'll do is we're going to take our two fingers and we're going to put our two fingers together. And in a moment, we're going to make a little tiny hot dog appear between our two fingers. And then we're going to make it levitate. And if you do exactly what I do, you'll see something amazing. We have to use our eyes in new ways. Magic teaches us how to use our senses in new ways. Okay, so take your fingers and place them tip to tip like this. And in a moment, that little hot dog is going to appear right there, like a little floating UFO sausage. Place your fingers on the tip of your nose. Now, the idea here is you can't look at your fingers. You have to look at me in the distance. Now, look at me in the distance, focus on my eyes, and bring your fingers out about a foot away, a little bit more, and keep looking into the distance. Focus on me. Bring your fingers up between your eyes and my eyes and look into the distance. Now separate your fingers tiny little bit, and you'll get a little floating hot dog to appear if you look into the distance. Are you getting that illusion? Yes?
Yes, yes.
You seeing that little floating? If you look into the distance, don't look at your fingers, look at me in the camera. And if you practice that for years and years, you can get it to look like mine right here. Whoa, 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 whoa. Well, give yourselves a round of applause. You're learning a little bit about the art of magic already.
Jeff, this has been incredible. Thank you for sharing that. Could you please tell folks where they can go to learn more about your magic school and all the different lessons that you make?
Yes. We're accessible to folks young and old. We're on the internet. We've been teaching magic there for many, many years. It's magicalwisdom.com. You can also do a search for McBride's Magic and Mystery School. You'll want to join the online school, which gives you access to dozens of magic classes. It gives you access to our magazine, our Secret Arts Journal. We get together on Zoom every Monday night at 7 p.m. Pacific time for Mystery School Monday. And magicians around the world connect with friends, and we share magic, and we learn secrets, and we learn how to share our stories.
Wonderful. Well, we've had a great time speaking to one of my favorite magicians in the world, a master, somebody that I've had really the pleasure to study with. Our guest has been Jeff McBride. Jeff, thanks so much for being with us.
Good. I have to say thank you. We'll see you online, and I have to disappear. Abracadabra.